everybody. Welcome to another Facebook Live where we do a little mini webinar and teach you some innovation techniques from our Transformotion in a box. Today, we have our first ever guest star, and that is Robin Bonzall. Now, Robin is a mommy. She is a very accomplished actress. She's a realtor extraordinaire with Coldwell Banker, Griffith & Blair.
Hi, Brian.
She's a Transformotion in a box customer.
Yeah.
She's kind of a big deal. So we are super excited to have her with us today, helping us brainstorm and show you some new ways that you can use these exercises.
Love it.
So welcome, Robin.
Thank you, and thank you for that fabulous introduction. And as promised, we provided the wine. Thank you for the wine. Love it.
Sometimes a little wine is good with brainstorming.
Yes, sometimes, you know, depends on your taste, but we're definitely wine and brainstorm kind of gals, obviously.
Yeah. So Robin, what are we going to brainstorm on today?
So, when we chatted a little bit last week, one of the ideas that has yet to really catch on here in Topeka is more of just an experiential open house. So I would love to do whatever fun techniques that might give us some ideas to take just traditional open houses that maybe are becoming kind of stale in a market or in a generation when you can have photos and videos on the internet and YouTube and Facebook and all that. Mm-hmm. So what kind of ideas can take an open house to a new awesome level?
Wonderful. Okay, this is super fun today. Okay, we love this exercise.
So let's jump right in. How we're going to brainstorm this idea is from one of our exercises in our Transformotion in a Box, our Shake It Up edition. And on page 8, you'll see our Shake the Rules exercise that we're going to be doing today. And what this does is it looks to childhood memories for inspiration. And something really neat that Disney did, for an example of this, is they now offer double dates with your favorite princess.
Can you believe that?
Stop! How did I not hear about this?
Yes.
This is great.
So a couple can sign up to go on a double date with Belle and the Beast or Cinderella and her handsome prince, and they go out and have a nice evening, and there they are having a double date with those characters. And so who would have thought, and now it's successful and people have a lot of fun with it. And so what we're going to do today is our childhood inspiration is kind of spread out on the table, all these different objects, and what we're going to do is just go ahead and pick some up and start the dialogue and see where we can go with our brainstorm.
I love.
Sound good?
Yes, and my favorite part of all of this is, even though I'm harnessing this information for real estate, just creativity and brainstorming like this can be used for any kind of business, any kind of just inspiration for life. So let's dig in.
Okay.
All right, so I have this rubber ducky, and I thought this was so cute and fun. It makes me think, of course, of bath time and toys that we have as kids. But I was thinking, well, what could you do with this related to an open house? Well, if the house had a pool,
Yes.
you could sort of take an idea from the Great Topeka Duck Race, where they have the little somethings on the bottom of the ducks, and so perhaps you would invite people to come and pull a duck out of the pool and see if they won a prize. So that would be a reason that they would have to come to the house.
Added value.
And maybe you could also do it if they had a big whirlpool tub or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my idea. Anybody else think of anything like with a rubber ducky or bath time?
I dig it because you mentioned pool at first, and I was like jacuzzi tub. Anything
Yeah.
that would be a special feature that is a water feature of sorts. But I also love that it's incorporated as like a pick one and see what kind of prize you might win.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about this? So if you want to get people all through the house, what if you had these in the kitchen sink and in the bathtub
Hidden.
and in like some different places, so they would have to go around the house and find the ducks?
Oh my gosh, a treasure hunt, duck style. I dig.
Okay. Okay.
And of course, I don't know, I'm so silly. I saw the red nose, so I'm like, why would I not be wearing the red nose
Okay.
while we're doing this fabulous thing? So my son loves these, by the way. 4th of July poppers, or we got these. Are you gonna do it?
I'm
Please
gonna do
tell me.
one.
Surprise! Loud noises. And I almost think it would be fun to use these as in an open house for like maybe the 15th or 20th person to come through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Pop, and they get a special prize for just being the 15th person to come to the open house.
That's
I
neat.
like that.
Surprises, loud noises, you know, keeping people on their toes.
Oh, yeah.
So also just thinking about 4th of July, you know, maybe You wouldn't decorate the whole house with 4th of July decor,
Right.
but maybe a pretty flag in the planter or something like that might be nice outside the house.
Yes.
I don't know, Kristen, it looked like maybe, did I cut you off? Did you have an
Oh
idea?
no, absolutely. You're fine. A small fireworks show, that would be extreme.
Oh, that would be totally
Yeah.
cool.
Especially if we sold the house that day. Full price offer, cash buyer, boom, small fireworks display at the end of the open house. I like that. I like
Hey,
where you're
okay,
going with
but
that.
what about this? Okay, so fireworks are best enjoyed at night. So what if instead of having this Sunday afternoon open house, you had an evening open house?
Mhm.
And you could do some sparklers or something like that, and do something that was a little bit different time of day, and have some
Seriously.
pretty lighting, and maybe you have some little lights on the back patio, and so people can imagine how they could enjoy spending time in the house in the evening.
That's fantastic, and we even talk about that. Like, one of the things that I'm trying to figure out is gauging my audience. Who are the people who would be, what generation would be interested in a specific house that would be an open house? If it's millennials, maybe it's a wine and cheese on a Thursday night. That's exactly right. And then a little fireworks display with that. Depending on the time of year, I dig that. That's a good idea, because if it's summertime or fall, being out on a back patio in the evening would be lovely. Wintertime, not so much. But
Not in
Good.
Kansas anyway.
Right. Oh, yay, these are great so far.
Okay.
So let's kind of switch gears. What about picking up this? A video
Ah,
game.
okay.
Video games were a huge part of my childhood.
Kristen's a gamer.
Nintendo 64 is the best.
I
But
beg to differ, but that's all right. Agree to disagree.
so this makes me think of technology, and what if you totally turned it on its head, and maybe you invite people into a facility and you take virtual tours of the 5 best houses available right now. You can get some really cool technology so it almost feels real, but that way they can see multiple houses in one location and have kind of a reception type style.
It's true. So at one gathering point that's not necessarily a listing, but a place where they can watch the videos for
Yeah,
all these.
so they can visit 5 houses without having to go visit the 5 houses.
Look at you, girl. And that's with Facebook Live or technology like that. It's true. We can either do a live tour where, or the capturing the video in advance and editing it so it's a legit experience. I like that. So
It'd be different.
Now you're a millennial, so what is your take on the open house experience? Do you visit open houses? Are you a homeowner yourself?
Well, I definitely watch HGTV, and I will go to open houses just because I enjoy looking at the different houses in our community. So
Yeah.
I do enjoy that experience of going, but if there was a little spin on it or a twist, that would make it even more inviting and fun.
So what is your experience with realtors at these open houses? Constructive thoughts from potential buyer to a realtor perspective.
Well, I really value the realtors that are honest with you, who are looking out for you, and they make it very clear about that, you know, helping you think about the things that you need to think about, but without being too, I guess, pushy, if you will, which I know that's kind of, you know, a fine balance there, but just really that friendship and watching out for you, that's something big I look for in a realtor.
Sure. And in open houses, that's kind of like the catch, because when there is a realtor at a certain listing, it's generally because they're the listing agent. So they're representing the sellers in that. So trying to find that authenticity, or you said pushy, one of the words that I'm like, I don't want to be an aggressive realtor, but I want to be assertive
Yes.
and looking out for the best interest of my client, but also helping people feel at ease that I'm not here to bother you. I'm available if you have questions about this house.
Here to help.
Okay, so thinking about this and what you said and the technology, what if you had QR codes in the different rooms? And so people could just snap that QR code with their phone and they could see the information about that room or some cool selling points about the house.
Yes.
So they would kind of be learning and it would be more interactive, but they wouldn't necessarily have somebody following them around trying to tell all this stuff to them.
Right. So keeping technology at the forefront of these open houses.
So you could still be there to answer questions, but that would also let people kind of discover and explore some on their own. And you could easily do those QR codes all around. And they could just snap them and there it would be.
Yes.
And that could be live or that could be just some static, you know, points of interest or
So I'm curious, for those of you who are watching, what's your take on QR codes? When I first got in the business about 6 years ago, QR codes were, I think, kind of at the beginning, their infancy, but I'm not sure, like, do QR codes work? Do you guys use QR codes? Do you, when you see a QR code somewhere, do you actually participate in that?
It depends on what it is and where it is. If I were in an open house, I might check it out, and then if the first one was kind of cool or had something, then I might do another one. What about you, Kristen?
Well, I'm not huge into QR codes, but it's only because I haven't found the right app.
I was going to say that. If they already have an app, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
You're not going to download an app just for an open house.
Yes, and something similar, though, that I do snap is the Snapchat QR codes. And what's really fun about those is that you can personalize what it looks like. You can put your logo in it, and you could really do a lot with that. And, you know, going back to kind of the millennial piece, being on Snapchat is huge because you could be in these homes showing them, you know, every day, or, you know,
and they don't even have to leave the comfort of their sofa on a Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's kind of for open houses these days. And you've bought and sold houses before,
Yes.
so you have experienced from the seller side an open house, I'm sure.
And buyer side, sure, yeah.
The point of an open house, or what it used to be, is that's when people could come in and really see the house, because there was no internet back in the good old days, so you couldn't just go online and see pictures and video. So how do you feel about an open house from a seller perspective? Do you think it's a valuable tool when people already have pictures and things online?
I think it is, and here's why. So we're looking at these childhood things and getting inspiration, and I think that the closer you get, the further into that buying chain that you get, the more important it is to be there. So maybe the first thing, when that first level of your looking, maybe online is fine.
Yeah.
But then as you get more serious, you want to be there, and you want to smell the smell of the Play-Doh or the smell of the fireworks, or like you want to have all those sensory experiences that help you know whether you're in love with that house or not.
It's true.
So I don't think technology can ever totally replace it. Even people who are relocating, I think, at some point want to come walk around the home. So to me, maybe there's multiple levels. Like the further they come into the buying cycle, then the more important it is to get them there, and they're more serious. So from a seller perspective, wow, I've got the more serious people looking at my home. That's great. I don't just have the people that are only doing this for their own, you know, entertainment.
To come and snoop because their neighbor's down the street or something like that. But this makes me think of neighborhood party, which is another idea. We have our lovely little unicorn piñata, and this always just automatically you're thinking party, but we're not gearing an open house toward children. But how neat would this be if we knew at the end of an open house there was going to be a piñata, and inside were adult themed prizes, whatever that may be. But that's a fun way to start a sentence. But how to make an open house that party feel for millennials, for the neighborhood, because we know when you buy a house, you're not just buying a house, you're creating a home, you are investing in the neighborhood as well.
Right.
So it is important to engage neighbors, and maybe this is a fun idea to help get the neighbors involved with. Come on over, meet potential people who might become your neighbors, or offer constructive thoughts on what would make the house that much more appealing to potential buyers, so that it not only brings in the right people, but if there are things that the seller can do to improve the property, to make it, to increase market potential for all of the houses in the neighborhood. Open house neighborhood party, I think, is a direction that could be.
I love that idea. That's really cool.
And this makes me think of a fiesta. So chips and salsa, queso, that's something easy. An easy appetizer that you can provide, and
maybe some margaritas.
Okay, so this also made me think about, what if you had a little play area for kids? That they could be entertained while their parents walk around and look at the house.
Yes.
And so they're entertained, so they're not trying to drag mom and dad out of there. And the homeowners are kind of rest assured, so nothing's, you know, getting broken or, you know, anything like that. Would that make it feel really welcoming and like you were taking into consideration I love this little picture.
I
Taking
know,
into
right?
consideration the people that are shopping.
Yes, and really, especially if they're at that stage of their buying process where they are serious.
Uh-huh.
And they do want to do some deeper looking or exploring of this particular house. Part of our challenge as realtors is people either think that, well, an open house is not as effective as it used to be. So we want to create that experience that makes it a different and more improved kind of effectiveness. So this is great. Something that I was already doing in 2016. I think I mentioned to you I launched an idea that I called R2B2, Realtor Robin's Brunchin' Brigade.
I love this idea.
It
Tell
was
everybody.
so fun. Yes, and Alex, I loved it. Alex actually came to a few of them, and Finn loved them. He still's like, when's the next one? So Finn, just so you know, there will be a couple coming up in September that I think you'll enjoy. But one of the things that I would do to encourage just engagement and participation, because sellers, when people are coming through their house, they want to know, what are the thoughts? What are people...
Yes.
If they didn't get any activity that day, they want to know why, and it's often helpful when people are coming through if they're willing to give that kind of feedback. So something that I offer are scratch lotto and sometimes pull tab lottery tickets.
Ooh,
So I have a feedback form. When people come through the door, I introduce myself. I allow them to just kind of explore on their own, because I think that's so important, instead of me breathing down her neck like we already talked about. And then once they complete a feedback form, they get a lottery ticket. So just a fun way for them to, you know, pay attention, and really when they're going through the house, make sure that they're looking for things that are both positives and negatives, so we can share that information with the sellers, and it's not just me telling them what to do. Potential buyers are actually giving them these ideas to
valuable feedback. Okay. Well, you all can see how we could. This is so much fun, Robin. You're so creative and great.
Yes.
So you can see how this kind of stuff, just getting it out with your team as you're brainstorming, can really help you think about things in new ways that if you just sat around the table and didn't have something to spur those ideas, you might not ever get any of these. So while Robin has got one business assignment that she's working on, maybe you are working on a theme for your employee retreat, or a customer appreciation event, or a new product launch. All of those things can benefit from this kind of process.
It's true. And here, since we have a Frisbee that looks like a boomerang,
Yes.
be courageous and brave, ladies and gentlemen. Put those ideas out there, because you never know when it's going to come back to you with a newfound inspiration.
Oh, very good. Very good.
So if you're interested in better brainstorming and more exercises like this, you can order our Transformotion in a Box. It's our quarterly business subscription, and you can learn more about it on our website, transformotioninabox.com.
Do it. You will not regret it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, Robin, for joining us.
My pleasure. This was wonderful. Yay!
Bye.